How we doing? This is Rob Foster with RBF Fitness and Nutrition. People upgrade their iPhones, they upgrade their Androids, they upgrade their laptops, but they're operating with the same brain that they operated with for the last decade. You should know the value that you bring to the marketplace. You know what your passion is. You know why you do what you do. So racism, it's out there, but it doesn't have to stop you. Just because somebody might look at you a certain way, that doesn't have to stop your forward progress. Where you have to eliminate the excuses. You got to make that game plan say, for me to get to that point. All right, here we are on a Tuesday. Today's Tuesday, right? Yeah, on a Tuesday. So it's supposed to be a show day today, but my guest had to cancel. So I was just working on some things. I figured I'd come and give a training. So this isn't an actual episode. We just want to talk about the fear of public speaking. Because one thing that COVID and everything going virtual has shown me was that a lot of people aren't really good at telling their own story. So are there other programs out there that can show you how to become better speakers? Of course there are. Are there bigger name people out there who can show you how to become a better speaker? Absolutely, yes, there is. But the difference is I teach you how to speak about you. Okay, how to take your personal stories and turn them into something that's just way bigger than yourself. So before we can even get there, we got to talk about why people fear this, because people fear public speaking more than they fear dying. And that's a fact. You know, some geniuses out there did studies in all of these colleges and universities, and it comes out that people actually fear that more than death. So let's talk about the first reason. And reason number one, if you get asked to speak upon a topic that you're not really sound with, then that's going to cause you some fear and anxiety. So the first one is that you're unprepared. So if I get asked to speak on neuroscience, then yeah, that's going to cause something within me. Like, and I'm a trained speaker, but I don't know the topic of neuroscience. So that's where that anxiety comes from. So by knowing your topic, knowing what you're being asked to speak upon, that's going to automatically make that go away. So think about something that you are sound in, or even let's take entertainment for a second. Let's say you go and you see a movie and you really like the movie, or you really dislike the movie, either way, but you have that information fresh in your mind and you're telling your friends, you're writing blogs about it. And then all of a sudden you can get in front of people and you can speak about that movie because you're very comfortable and confident with what you just saw. So number one is that you're unprepared. And so going along with being unprepared is number two is you don't know what to say. So I messed up the typing. ID key, what to say. Now, so like I said, it seems to go hand in hand. And I left the number one up there like a dummy. See, that's the problem with going live is when you make mistakes, you just have to own it. All right. So number two is you don't know what to say. And that is because it goes hand in hand with number one is that you're unprepared. So knowing what to say comes from understanding the content. So someone could message me right now and say, Rob, can we go live at 2:30 and talk about the benefits of intermittent fasting? Cool. Like, I don't have to do anything for that. I don't have to do any research. I'm prepared right now. I can talk about resilience, can talk about overcoming obstacles, battling back from injuries, champion mindset. Like, there's so many different topics that I can speak on, breaking the cycle of inner city poverty. There's lots of things I can speak on, race relations. I can talk about critical race theory, so many different ones. But again, if you ask me to speak about the state of the sewage industry, that ain't in my wheelhouse. So that's something that would cause me some anxiety because I don't know about that industry and I wouldn't know what to say. So again, number one is you're unprepared. Number two is you don't know what to say. And then number three, because of those two, you have a fear of judgment. So like you don't want to look like a fool. So you don't want to get up there and have people laughing or people walking out of your presentation. So that fear of judgment kicks in. And that's one of the biggest reasons that people give for being afraid of public speaking is they don't want to get up there and be embarrassed. But as I said, but when you're prepared for the topic, like if I say, all right, I want you to speak about how you got your profession, and then you can sit down, you can write out your timeline of how you chose what you chose, and then you'll be able to get up in front of people and speak about it because that's something that you've done, that's something that you've lived through, and you can tell that story very, very easily. So there is no fear of judgment. So that fear of judgment comes from the unknown. All right. So number one is unprepared. Number two, you don't know what to say. And then number three is the fear of judgment. And you see how those all go hand in hand. And then the last one, it's like anything else, speaking can be worked on. It can be developed. And I don't want to say perfected because there is no perfect way to speak. You know, there's different ways to present. Some people are motivational, inspirational. Some people do more presentation style. You know, there's like empathetic speaking. So there's so many different ways that you can speak. But like anything else, you have to practice. Right? Practice. Right. So number four is just because you're unpracticed. Right. So if you just jumping on, as some of you are. So number one is you're unprepared. So number two, you don't know what to say. Number three, you have a fear of judgment. And that's because you're unprepared and you don't know what to say. So that's where the fear of judgment comes in. And then number four is you're just not practiced. So people I work with, they'll come to me and they say, Rob, I really, really need to work on speaking on camera. I'm like, all right, so your first assignment is I want you to do a video on fear. I want you to do a video on something that made you extremely happy. I want you to do a video on something that made you sad. And they're like, what? I just told you that I have a fear of speaking on camera. Okay, you have to practice it. The more you practice it, the easier it gets. When I first started my podcast, I used to do research on my guests, and I'd have a notebook full of notes, and I'd have all this information. And for some people, that works. For me, I am very abstract, and people that know me, they know I'm not very detailed. So like that's not my strong point. So I am better, and I'm at my best when things are unscripted, when things are live. Like so for me, I don't sit there and edit it and try to make it all fancy and take out any mistakes. If I make a mistake, that's cool because we're all human and we all make them. But that's what works for me. If you're someone that needs stuff written down, then if you get asked, hey, come over here and tell this group about your story, like that's going to put you in an anxious situation. So it's not even so much the fear of speaking, is at that moment you're not prepared to speak, right? So you have to figure out what type of speaker you are, because not everybody has to be a motivational speaker. I said you can be a presenter. Say if you're a manager at your job and you have to give staff trainings. Are you someone that says every 5 seconds, all right, guys, today we're gonna talk about and today I wanna recognize see how like that gets old after a while. And I know people listening to this, you know that you have been in presentations where the presenter is like that. And it's awful. Okay. It's like scratching nails on a chalkboard. So you want to be able to get your information out. And that's what I'm helping people do now. And again, it all came from going to all these Zoom events. And the first thing people say is, tell us about yourself. And so many people can't do it. And that's why I call my group Speak About Yourself Out Loud. Because if you can speak about so many other things, but then when it comes to your own story, if you can't tell your story properly, you're costing yourself money, you're costing yourself time, you're costing yourself opportunities. And again, being a speaker doesn't mean you have to get on the stage with 10,000 people or speak at these virtual events, across the globe. It's like I said, it could be something so simple like you work in whatever industry you work in. And if you have to communicate with other people, you want to be able to articulate your knowledge and your experience in a way that's beneficial to the other person, rather than just regurgitating information at them. Because there's definitely different ways to do it. And I used to think I was a really good speaker until I went to a speaker boot camp where he told me, you're a really good speaker, but you kind of suck at it at the same time. And I was like, okay, let me swallow the pride, control the ego, and just be the sponge. And they completely changed the way I execute, the way I tell my own life stories. Because one of the first things people always say, well, nobody wants to listen to me. No, you'll be surprised. It's like there's one you. Like you look at your fingerprints, only you have your fingerprints. And the way you view the world could be something completely different from the way I view the world. So let's just say if I use the word vacation, to me, it's mountains, it's in a warm climate, light breeze, hiking, getting in a hot tub afterwards. For someone else, that's laying on the beach, that's sipping a margarita, and that one word, but it's going to mean if you ask 100 different people, what's your ideal vacation? You're going to get 100 different responses. And telling your life stories is the same thing. So like if you're a cancer survivor, and you can say, oh, well, thousands of people survive cancer each day. Yeah, but your story is unique. And there's someone out there that was feeling something that you were that needs to hear your story. And again, so if you don't follow my podcast, I had a guest on a few weeks ago who was battling with systemic lupus. And basically the doctors told her, there's nothing else that we can do for you. Basically, you're stuck dealing with the effects of this disease. And she chose to not accept that diagnosis. And she started experimenting with her diet. And she started putting together different juicing combinations. And down the line, it started lessening the effects of her systemic lupus. So she wanted to get her story out. She ended up landing a TV show. I believe she was out in the Illinois area. And while her episode was playing, there was a young woman who was on the verge of taking her life because of the effects of systemic lupus. And hearing my guest story stopped her from doing that. And she actually sought her out and she thanked her for saving her life. That's the power of what your stories inside of you can do for someone else. So if you feel this is an avenue that you want to go down, join my free group. Go to speakaboutyourself.com. Okay, speakaboutyourself.com. And I will help you lay out everything that you have inside that you want to get out, even the things that you don't even know are significant. I'll help you uncover those. And we'll turn those into powerful stories that can help you heal from whatever's hurting you, because there's a reason why you're keeping what you're keeping inside. So we can help you heal from that. And then we can show you how to move forward and help other people as well. All right. So that's all I got for you. Short one today. Thank you for tuning in. And again, if you want in on that group, it's speakaboutyourself.com. It's a free group here on Facebook. All right. Have a great day.